These are once again live visuals coming from Geneva in Switzerland, where the two leaders, US President Joe Biden and the Russian President Vladimir Putin, are officially sitting down together in their first face-to-face meeting since Biden assumed office. Remember, this happens to be a high-stakes summit currently underway in Geneva in Switzerland. While experts say that expectations are low, still there's plenty on the agenda as the leaders finally sit down to have their bilateral discussions, slated to last for about 4 to 5 hours. And we at WION will continue to track all the outcomes. Just a few minutes ago, the US President and his Russian counterpart took their first photo at this historic meeting at Villa La Grange in Geneva, and their meeting is now underway. The two presidents were earlier seen outside the villa with the Swiss President Guy Parmelin, who made some short remarks welcoming the two leaders, and he wished the leaders a fruitful dialogue, which is in the interest of both the nations, of course. For all those joining us on WION right now, these are live visuals coming where the two leaders are sitting down. Remember, this is the most highly watched meeting between two presidents, and as of now, the US President Joe Biden and his Russian counterpart are sitting together, and these are live visuals coming in from Geneva in Switzerland, where their high-stakes summit is scheduled to get underway shortly. They are presumed to discuss several topics for a period of 4 to 5 hours, and thereon hold separate news press conferences. Remember, the news briefings will not be held together. They will hold separate news briefings after their talks conclude. They just took their first photo together since US President Joe Biden took office. And both the leaders have recently acknowledged in separate meetings that this is certainly a low point in relations between Russia and the United States, which is why the world is watching as this meeting gets underway.
Can you move? Because I can't get a shot of both of them. Can you move? Because we can't get a shot. No, I can't do this.
The bilateral meeting that they hold is expected to go on for a period of 4 to 5 hours, according to a Kremlin spokesperson, and they will then hold a separate news briefing each. Let's talk about Russia's expectations going into the summit first. Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin has landed in Geneva, and he's now sitting down with his US counterpart. And he has previously said that the Russian expectations for this summit are low, and it echoes the sentiments of the White House as well. The fact that the meeting, however, is taking place is certainly historic in nature and is something of an achievement, many political analysts say. That said, there are still some areas of common ground that will top the agenda. For one, climate change, arms reduction, various regional conflicts and other subjects that they are likely to discuss. And experts also expect some joint statements signed on these issues. That is what a Kremlin spokesperson had said earlier. But there are plenty of strong core disagreements between US and Russia as of now. So no one is really expecting any serious progress in those areas during just one summit. But the fact that this meeting is taking place is an achievement, certainly. On top of Biden's agenda, of course, will be the cyber attacks against the US, which US intelligence reports say emanated from Russia. The military threat from Russia, which continues to pose to its neighbors, especially Ukraine. Remember, the US recognizes Ukraine's sovereignty. Another important topic to come up in these talks will be that of Alexei Navalny, the face of opposition in Russia, as well as other activists who have been targeted in Russia by the government. Putin, of course, is expected to present a tough line on all these issues, as is the US president. And both the leaders had earlier acknowledged that the expectations are low from this summit. The summit is underway now in the neutral location and a rather scenic location of Geneva in Switzerland at this historic 18th century mansion, Villa La Grange. We just showed you when the three leaders, that is the Swiss president, the Russian president and the US president, posed for a picture together. And then later, the two leaders, The US president and Russia's Putin, of course, shook hands, and now they are sitting down before their bilateral conversations get underway, which are likely to last for about 5 hours. Following that, they will hold separate news briefings, and we at WION will continue to track all the outcomes from this high-stakes summit. The two leaders have arrived in the scenic location of Geneva in Switzerland at the Villa La Grange in Geneva, which overlooks Lake Geneva in Switzerland. And security at the venue has been beefed up as the city hosts the two leaders. The most challenging and critical of issues will be that of cyber hacking, given the recent spate of ransomware attacks, huge in magnitude across the United States, which are believed to have been launched by certain criminal syndicates coming in from Russia. A senior Biden official had earlier said that the US president will underscore the US plans to respond to the continued state-directed cyber attacks.
No, I have no idea. Security started told us it was over.
These are visuals from Geneva in Switzerland, where the US President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin are sitting down in their first face-to-face meeting since Biden assumed office. The last time that Putin met with a US president was Donald Trump in 2018 in Finland.
Holy shit. Lemire got in.
There's plenty of media as well as public, and there's a lot of security that has been beefed up as the two leaders sit down to hold their controversial and contentious talks. Let's talk in a little bit more detail about the US president's agenda as he sits down with the Russian president. Probably the most challenging, of course, will be cyber hacking that we've already told you about. Another high-stakes issue on the table from Biden's side will be election interference. Remember, the US intelligence community had earlier said in March that the Russian government had meddled in the 2020 election with an influence campaign to denigrate Joe Biden and, in fact, support former US President Donald Trump. And this disinformation campaign was massively embraced by Trump's allies. Russia, of course, has denied any involvement. However, Biden is likely to take up the issue when he sits down with his Russian counterpart. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.